What up, what up, what up? You were live and direct on Petty Sports, the podcast brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. It's your boy, the host, Famous Fees. They call me Facts. I'm sitting here with my man, Adam. Holla at him.
You already know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Petty Sports, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. There's no other place you want to be. We're talking nothing but football today, but we're going to get to that soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Call the show, 678-871-9602. Fees, hand us off, man. It's December. Can't believe it.
Yes, sir, man. It's about to be on and popping. Just like he told you, we got a full slate of football on deck for you. We talking NFL, and you know we're going to talk about college. The SEC championship game is coming up. USC just got a new head coach. College football is really lighting up. They had to take some of this spotlight away from the NFL on this show. So, man, you know, like we do every single week. Get your popcorn ready. Get you a good stick. Get you a good drink. Courtesy of Wesley and his raggedy Tennessee Titans. We got a crispy bottle of Jameson on deck.
That's right. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Wes. Drinking to you tonight, sir. Might not be talking about your team a lot, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they got smacked. Just like I told you. I made that bet with you when we were like way below 500, and I still have faith that we beat Tennessee.
This was a while ago type of bet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
This
one definitely holds heavy.
I'm like, okay. By the time we play you, we'll have it. Like we'll have it together.
This one definitely holds heavy. For sure.
Played the long game on it.
Yeah, for real. Confidence bet early on. Sorry,
Absolutely.
Wes. We appreciate you, brother.
Watch, he ain't even gonna show up today.
Right.
Now, he's doing jujitsu.
You took my money, drinking my Jameson. I'm not watching. I'm gonna show them. I'm not gonna watch tonight. Okay, bro.
Don't put me in an arm bar. I don't do jujitsu. Quit playing.
Facts.
So, man, we're gonna jump into week 12. It was straight up week of back to normal in the NFL. First week we've had in like damn near a month where there just haven't been ridiculous upsets all over the place. First game we looking at the Green Bay Packers. They're really starting to rack up quality wins now. I mean, they stopped the Rams, and they're really cementing their place as the NFC heavy hitter. So, I mean, how were the Packers, how were the Packers able to take that W off the Rams?
Well, when you look at how the Packers have been playing all season, the fact that they're without two of their top players right now, Jair Alexander, who's a top corner in the league, Zadarius Smith, who's a relentless pass rusher as anybody in the NFL. The fact that they're, able to perform at this high of a level, the defense is literally top 9 in all major categories, points, yards, rush yards, pass yards, everything. The Packers are finally playing with a defense like we've been talking about that can finally carry them. And they're building depth at this point. Aaron Jones been out for a little while, I think 10 carries for 20 yards in his first game back. A.J. Dillon's emerging, and that was a draft pick that we talked about with the Packers for a long time, to where people say, well, what are the Packers doing? Why did they go and draft A.J. Dillon and Jordan Love? Jordan Love is still something to be seen, but A.J. Dillon's really already proving it in year 2. You talk about having to find, a little bit of a Randall Cobb, MVS, a little bit of Equinemius St. Brown. These are guys that, and of course, Devontae Adams is still out there, but we've talked a lot about, does Green Bay have a true target that Aaron Rodgers can really depend on? And we've seen it come and go a little bit, but the fact that they're able to play at this level, they're finally establishing depth, and they're not having to rely so much on those front starters. I mean, no David Bakhtiari, and they're still only giving up 2 sacks per game. Yeah, that's about middle of the pack in the league, but 2 sacks per game, that's half sack a quarter. You're definitely going to take that for a reigning MVP like Aaron Rodgers. And then you just talk about the Rams in general. I said it last week, Matthew Stafford again, big spot, can't perform. The Rams are going to continue to be held back in big spots, and it's because of Matthew Stafford. And that's really embarrassing considering the amount of talent they have. Sean McVay, not a Super Bowl coach in my opinion. I know he got there, but it was a horrible game for him. And they're starting to play a type of way to where, like, if you can't be in big spots in December, like we just said before we got on, it is grown man's football now. This is where men or boys become men. So if you can't play in big spots with a Packers team, like they're not even potentially at the top of the NFC when we're talking about people running. They're a great team, don't get me wrong, but like there's other people you're going to have to see later on in the season, and when you talk about, Titans without Derrick Henry, Rams should have beat them. San Francisco dominated them physically, which if you push the Rams around, that's going to happen. And then the Packers forced 3 turnovers at 2 times. They doubled them up in time of possession. And I know people are going to say 300 yards from Stafford, 3 touchdowns, this and that. But what about the pick 6? What about other turnovers? What about the fact that we've seen it time and time again these Rams are going to be held back by Matthew Stafford. This wasn't anything different in this game. And I felt like he was force-feeding OBJ, and I know it's, second, third game in the system. But 10 targets, 5 catches, and one of those was a 54-yard bomb. So we're talking about 4 catches, less than 30 yards. Not a major impact for the Rams here. I say all that to say, again, the Rams, they can't play in big spots. They're being held back by their quarterback, and eventually their head coach is going to start taking massive heat. Special teams is horrible. Secondary's kind of falling apart too. So Rams are definitely falling back. I'm starting to sell my stock on this team early December.
Yeah, I mean, I sold the stock before it was even starting to get purchased.
Before the season even started.
Their problem is definitely Matthew Stafford, but even more ridiculous than Matt Stafford is their play calling.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're going for it on 4th and 1 inside their own 30. It's like, bro, what are you doing? You miss those, then you give up scores, then you got Matthew Stafford fumbling on places where it's like, bro, you're sacked.
Right.
Just take the sack. You get stripped for a fumble, they get the ball in the red zone, then you throw a pick 6, 3 straight games.
Yep.
Like, he's approaching an NFL record for most consecutive games for a pick 6. If he gets another one this week, he'll have tied it. Like, it's getting really, really bad. It's like, come on, bro. Between Matt Stafford and the ridiculous play calling from quote-unquote genius Sean McVay, it's like, man, they're not living up to any of the hype. And it's really just it's Matt. Everybody said the dude was better. He was going to come in and he'd be able to take them to the promised land. Like, newsflash for all you prisoners of the moment, they were 10-6 last year and made it to the divisional round with the guy that you say sucks. It was not Jared Goff's fault. We're not saying Goff is elite. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. All I'm saying is Matt Stafford ain't that damn good. I mean, the Packers, they're looking really strong. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing well, even with his COVID toe. I mean, you can see him kind of favoring it a little bit, but, I mean, he still had a very good showing. And I don't know where the hell Randall Cobb came from. Like, they've been looking for him for quite some time. That was one of the biggest games he's had since he's been a Packer. Like, probably even during his first stint, I would count that. I mean, that was a monster game out of Cobb.
Yeah.
If you can get complimentary performances out of Cobb and Valdez-Scantling along with Devontae Adams, that offense is extremely difficult to stop.
Right.
Especially with Dillon running the way he is, and now you're nursing Aaron Jones back to good health.
Right.
I mean, the only thing I have for the Green Bay Packers is I need to see them do this in January.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen it. Like, 2 years straight, they made it to the NFC Championship game. We always knew that Green Bay was a good team. What we don't know is that Green Bay can show up in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
Like, you got smacked by San Francisco and then smacked by Tampa Bay. It's like, you got to get over that hump.
Yeah.
That's really the only measuring stick for Green Bay. Anything that they do outside of that is like, oh, okay, well, we've seen it before.
Right. Do they fold later in the year?
Back-to-back 13-3 seasons, it's like, nah, I mean, we expect you to be good like this.
Right. You have enough talent. What do you do after December? It's time to see. Everybody has a bad loss. Everybody's flawed. Who is going to prevail? This is where we truly see, and I love December football. No more BS.
I like it better in January.
Yeah, because you'll be there.
I mean, I took a 1-year hiatus, but normally January is my month.
Right, yeah. We know fees. We know.
It's okay, y'all. You don't have to listen to me gloat about the Patriots. They're not even on the slate. We're going to move and switch gears to Tampa Bay. They escaped a narrow victory. They stormed back on the Indianapolis Colts. And they were just straight up riding the legs of old Lenny Four Tutties. That they gave him a brand new name.
Yeah.
Gronk started calling him Four Tutties now instead of Fournette.
Lombardi Lenny.
Yeah, they switched it from Lombardi Lenny to Lenny Four Tutties. But, man, we've seen this happen now week in and week out where Tampa gets jumped on, and then they have to rely on those late-game heroics, which usually is Brady, but it really was a lot of Leonard Fournette this time.
Yep.
I mean, is the Brady magic starting to wear off in Tampa?
It is a little bit, but, let's not, I guess, sit up here and crucify Tampa Bay. They do have a 44-year-old quarterback, and I know he's in the MVP race right now. But I'm not saying Tom Brady is playing bad, but the defense is definitely starting to step up at this time. And kind of how people falsely thought last year that Tampa was going to be their defense was going to be the entire story. It was really their offense for the first 15, 16 weeks of the league, which carried over into the postseason. Then the defense came around and forced multiple turnovers in the postseason. Like we saw in those multiple teams. And the defense, again, won this game. They're forcing 5 total turnovers, 1 on special teams before by the defense themselves. And when Indianapolis had only turned it over 10 times all year. So they definitely made an impact there. But they scored 24 of their 38 points on turnovers. So that shows you that, with the offense being on the field, they truly weren't effective in this game. But we've known, I said it coming in, Indianapolis has that type of defense to really run for the best in the league. You talk about the first 4 drives with Tampa Bay. It consisted of 3 punts, a fumble. They were outgained in this game, 2 of 8 on third down. But Tampa Bay has to be super grateful for Gronk right now because they actually average 5 more points a game and are 10% better in the NFL when Gronkowski is in. That opens up, obviously, more weapons for Scotty Miller whenever he's out there. Of course, Mike Evans, Godwin's, the usual suspects, of course, out in Tampa Bay. But, the fact that Leonard Fournette can disappear for games and then immediately come back and he's racking up touchdowns, 20-plus touches, over 150 yards from scrimmage, absolutely crushed it. And when you look over to the Colts, we said it when they got Wentz coming in that, if Wentz can play decent, they'll be okay. The defense is kind of starting to be a story as well, but they're still giving up, 30-plus points to this Tampa Bay team right now, turning over the football. It's not going to look good. And when you talk about Frank Wright being back with Carson Wentz, I think he's kind of outthinking the room right now. So, they looked okay in the second quarter passing the football. They were actually kind of heating up. And then coming out of halftime, you have 2 turnovers in the third quarter, and Jonathan Taylor does not get a carry. The best running back in the NFL right now, who's averaging 100 yards and a touchdown a game, did not get a carry for the Colts. That's the type of thing that's going to affect you in December and January football, weeks 14, 15, 16. Is Wentz capable? Is Wright capable? Is this young team capable? Those are the questions around the Colts. But reverting back to the Bucs, yeah, the Brady magic is kind of wearing off. The guy's he's an older quarterback, still playing good, but I think the defense is really going to start picking up for Tampa from here on out.
I don't really think the magic is actually wearing off. I think it's more so key injuries over a sustained period of time has actually really started to show in Tampa. So, with Brady working with a skeleton crew at the wide receiver position, he's looking just like he did in his last season in New England. Without Gronk out there, he doesn't have that safety blanket to throw to. AB is the other safety blanket. Neither one of them have been out there for weeks on end.
Right.
You see, when Gronk is there, he's got that, okay, I know Gronk's going to be where I need him to be at, and he's going to make that play for me. And on top of it, Gronk is an amazing blocker.
Yep.
He keeps people off of him, so Brady has more time. Even if he's not throwing to Gronk, Gronk keeps people up off of him because he can block top-flight defensive ends by himself.
Correct.
So he creates a whole different dynamic to the offense when it's you've got a top-flight edge rusher, and he can't get around Gronk.
Right. Gronk is a running fridge, and he's hard as hell to tackle. Jesus.
Yeah. Then, teams like the Colts, they do Colts things.
Yeah.
And there's lots of teams that are like that. It's you get a lead, you're actually playing a great game against this team, and then you just completely go away from what was working. Why you would put the game in Carson Wentz's hand is beyond me.
Right.
We all know Carson Wentz is on the same boat as Matt Stafford in my book.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get as much of that, he could be winning because his team wasn't that good respect because he did come from a good team.
Right.
His team won a Super Bowl without him.
Yeah.
So he had a squad, and he's got another squad. But it's really on him. The same thing I told you about the Rams, I told you about the Colts at the beginning of the season. They have a Super Bowl caliber roster and a quarterback that'll blow it. You put all the 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, those 2 picks, it's too much.
Yep. That's the game.
You went away from your run game, and he threw 2 picks. You lost by 1 touchdown in a game where you got walked down because you actually put the game in your wayward quarterback's hands.
Exactly. Wentz is not a game manager.
Why are these teams doing this?
Right.
It's stick with what's working.
Exactly.
Did you forget what you did to the Bills? Keep giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor.
Literally. He was probably poised for another 150 that day, but for some reason, again, Frank Reich, Carson Wentz, just don't outthink the room. What you've done has been work. Go look at Jonathan Taylor's numbers. There's no reason he shouldn't have had a touch until the fourth quarter in the second half, dude. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's sad, man. Like, now we're going to move to another sad story. Thanksgiving Day, on prime time, we watched the Raiders and the Cowboys rack up 28 penalties in an overtime loss for the Cowboys, where it looked like they finally figured it out and started to walk them down, but they just couldn't quite get over the hump. So, I mean, are you concerned with Dallas moving forward?
I have to be. I absolutely have to be. Dallas right now is losers of 3 of their last 4. The fact that they were penalized for a franchise record, and I know this game had give and take with a lot of the flags, but what happened, and Dallas played sloppy football in this past game. But let's not also act like that they're not missing, a healthy Zeke, a CeeDee Lamb, a good Amari Cooper. I mean, they're kind of, and oddly enough, there's rumors that they're trying to decide between Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. To me, it's a no-brainer. Amari Cooper is clearly a top 12 to 15 receiver in the NFL. And the fact that Michael Gallup, he's not always been there for me through the thick and thin ever since Amari Cooper shown up. Yeah, he's been he can be a 1,000-yard guy, but Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are the dudes that really ride and die with that offense, and they're not there next to Ezekiel Elliott. And, Kellen Moore is really making this offense look pedestrian right now, boring up the middle run plays. You've got cookie-cutter passes on the inside and out, and, Dallas has always been credited, well, not always been credited, but this season they've not been just throwing you their average stuff. They've been getting creative. They've been able to move Dak out of the pocket, and the fact that Dak is playing his best football off of an injury is clearly a testament to the coaching. But the fact that they were running the ball 60% of the time on first down before the bye. After that drops by almost 15%, and that drops them to damn near the middle of the league in terms of numbers versus top 5 when you're running it at that type of rate on first down. I just think this shows me that Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, they're not trusting their offense right now. And the fact that Dallas Dallas and Mike McCarthy made the decision to punt 4 separate times in this game when the game was kind of manageable in the third and fourth quarter. You had a 4th and 7, a 4th and 3, but we've seen Dallas be aggressive like this. Don't be conservative and expect to beat a Raiders team that's going to be looking for a W any day of the week. You talk about slow starts all year with this Cowboy team. Weeks 1 through 8, their second half point differential was plus 34. After the bye week, weeks 8 through 12, it is plus 7. So they're clearly falling back. They're not able to come out and immediately adjust after halftime. And you talk about their defense. They struggle with speed. Tyreek Hill, Deshaun Jackson, Kadarius Toney. Those are speedsters that lit them up for quite a few yards. So if you can, bust Dallas on the back end, they're going to be kind of exposable. But I don't want to truly freak out all the way and sell my stock. They are missing 3 of their 5 best players. But it is cause for concern. I mean, this is what happens in December. Can you stay healthy? Can you face adversity? Can you win games at all costs? That's a question right now for Dallas.
I mean, Dallas is showing us that they're a football team that has to be healthy, for one, and 2, the offense has to be clicking.
Yep.
Their defense has been able to feast on teams in the first half of the season because they were taking leads early. So they were taking the run element out of it, forcing teams to pass. Defense got a lot easier. They were pressing the issue, forcing turnovers. I mean, have we said Trayvon Diggs' name in, 6 weeks?
Right. You called it. He was going to get on an island. Nobody's throwing his way. He was asked, are you bothered by less picks? No, it's not about me. It's about the team. And that was great to hear, of course, from arguably the league's best corner right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's thrown the ball at him since he got that pick 6 in New England.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten any picks since then.
Right.
But isn't he still at 7? He had 7 through 6 weeks, and he's still at 7 through 12 weeks. People stopped throwing the ball at him, but moreover, people started running on them, throwing to the other side. Teams are not down anymore, so their game plans are different, and they're not forcing the issue. They were feasting off of the offense. If Dak's not putting up points, then now they're not winning like that. But I'm going to have to give Skip Bayless credit for this stat because he is a super Cowboys guy.
Jeez.
Since Dak Prescott has been a Cowboy, they are 29-0 when they run the ball more times than they pass it. Why are they throwing so much? Like it's proven that that's not how this team wins. 47 passes for Dak and only 20 rush attempts, and one of them were Dak. It's like, man, give the ball to Pollard and Zeke. Like, you have great running backs. Run the football.
Yep. McCarthy brought into the spotlight again. Same reason he was under the spotlight in Green Bay for bad coaching through his tenure. It's not bad coaching, but it's getting to that point if it continues, obviously. And that's not something Dallas needs with the type of hype they have this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, really. I mean, they have a Super Bowl contending roster, and we've seen them on bigger stages look great.
Yep.
And now they're just folding.
Yep.
It's like they can't sustain for a whole season. So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I'm interested to see what they look like tomorrow night. Like, they're playing a Saints team that's reeling, don't really have a quarterback. So, like, the expectations are sky high. Like, you can't stumble your way through this game.
Nope.
But, man, last game before we completely switch gears, the Baltimore Ravens pulled off the straight wacky win of the week. I mean, they beat Cleveland in a game where we saw 6 turnovers, and they stayed the 1 seed. Lamar Jackson threw 4 picks, and they still won. I mean, if you're a Ravens fan, how concerned are you heading into the fourth quarter of the season?
You got to be concerned because this team has not been right since they had that blowout by the Bengals in late October, really. I mean, nobody saw that one coming. You're talking about an overtime win against a Vikings team who at that time clearly was not that good. Embarrassed by Miami on national television to save the Dolphins season, rather, and then they are struggling against the Bears. I mean, struggling against the Browns. I think the problem with the Ravens right now is they are not able to read the temperature of the room at all this season. They're struggling with easy games, and I don't think they have that ability, which they have in the last few years, to truly step on your throat and put you in that position to where you're on the ropes. All right, here comes the knockout punch. Here's where we go up, 35-7. It always feels like a kind of 28-14, or we're down by 20, got to reel back. Like, that has been the kind of waxing and waning mood, I guess, for the Baltimore Ravens this year. But the fact that this is their 3rd straight game with 1 offensive touchdown. When would you ever think a Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, offensively loaded team like that is going to struggle on the offensive side of the football? Now, I got to give the credit, of course, the defensive line play has been immaculate really so far this year, but they're still dead last in the NFL in pass yards per game. You can actually absolutely bomb it through the air on them. But oddly enough, so Lamar Jackson is 4-0 when throwing 2 or more interceptions this year. The rest of the NFL is 9-59. So whatever you want to take from that, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are clearly finding a way to win the football game when they turn the ball over. I think they're just mentally prepared. Like, okay, if we have this turnover, we can remove ourselves, go to the next drive, and engineer a 15-play 90-yard drive if we have to.
It's just like what I illustrated last week. They suck in the first half. 6 points again.
Yep.
This is yet another game where they failed to put real points on the board in the first half of the football game.
Yep.
They are constantly playing a quarter and a half of real football and then trying to come back. I mean, luckily Cleveland played just as bad, so I mean they were able to do it. But you're not doing that against any of the better teams in the league. As we start to move down the stretch, they get into the playoffs. Pretty much anybody you face in the playoffs, if you play that bad in the first half, you've already lost. They're just going to coast the victory on you, and it's going to be sad. But y'all heard the alarm. It is 8:24 p.m. We're going to pay homage to the great Kobe Bean like we do every Wednesday night at 8:24. Adam, count us down.
3, 2, 1.
Kobe.
R.I.P. to the Mamba.
Yes, sir. And I beat Nia on that text, too.
It was great having her in studio last week, man, to count us down. That was fun. We should make that a tradition if she can get in here. That would be cool.
Oh, yeah. When she comes, she's got to get on. She might come in and drop you some Patriots dimes, too.
Oh, boy.
Well, she watches.
Yeah.
She's not going to like the next part of the show, though. So we're going to get this thing to Mike Beasley so he can let y'all know who pays these bills. And when we come back, we're talking about the SEC championship game. Y'all keep it locked.
Appreciate that. Famous Facts Fees. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in like every Wednesday at 8 o'clock to Petty Sports with Famous Facts Fees and Adam Lewis, all brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. We greatly appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with us. Do us a big solid, right? You know what I'm talking about? Go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified when the show goes hot. You can tune in right away, all right? You know what I'm saying? So that would really help us out, you know what I'm saying? Tickle that algorithm a little bit. Go to the pages. You know, we all over the place. Go to Book of Fed, Book of Face, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Just join all those pages, man, and subscribe. Like. And you know what I'm saying? You won't miss a beat. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in so far tonight. I see you out there on YouTube, everybody over there on Facebook. We see you. Shouts out to you. Thank you so much. Share the show. Go to kingsbroadcasting.com. Like that page by spending some money. Go to the bottom of the home page, spend some money over there. It's a big donate button right there on the home page at the bottom. No donation is too big or too small. 'Tis the season to be given, right? You know what I'm saying? Or receive, I think it is. It's better to receive. Oh, no, it's better to give. I guess depending on what end of the spectrum you on. But, yo, you know what I'm saying? So we look forward to you seeing that holiday cheer and spirit going in. You know what I'm saying? We need it. We like it. We want it, and we know you got it. All right? So, yeah, do that for us. Go to Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeart, all those different podcast platforms, and type in Petty Sports with a Z, and you can hear all of the past shows, and this one will load up maybe in a day or two. So, check us out over there as well, man. And do feel free to call in 678-871-9602. 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show tonight. Don't hide out now, Wesley. Come on with it, baby. Back to the regular scheduled program.
Yes, sir. We are back, and it is about that time. I know some feathers about to get ruffled. It's a lot of people that listen that are Georgia fans. It's also a lot of Roll Tiders listening to this thing.
Roll Tiders, you did not just do them like that.
Hey, I mean, I don't think they don't feel disrespected. They're Roll Tiders. I mean, that's what it is. But, man, we got the SEC championship game set for Saturday right here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 4 o'clock. The Georgia Bulldogs are square off against basically their version of a success demon in the Alabama Crimson Tide. That has basically been the measuring stick for Georgia's success is, can you beat Alabama? And to this point, the answer has always been no. So let's just move into the actual game. What are the keys to victory for Georgia?
First and foremost, Georgia has to keep Alabama from being explosive. And it's not that they've been explosive this year in college football, but Nick Saban, you know, he's going to come with a game plan that, and I know this might kind of seem obvious, but he's going to come with a game plan that he probably hasn't had all year. This is easily the biggest game, the best team that he's played. So Georgia has to be up front and really not allow Alabama to score more than 25 points, I think, in this game overall. It's been done twice to Alabama this year, so it's totally possible. We saw with LSU, and of course, we saw with Auburn as well. And no one has scored over 12 points on Georgia all year. We know they're averaging 6.9 points per game on defense, less than 250 yards. We know what this Georgia defense is. We've seen it year in and year out with the Dogs. But I think the biggest thing, obviously, besides holding this team to limited points, is they got to step on Alabama's throat when the time is right. They have to deliver that knockout punch. They have to realize when Alabama's on the ropes and put them out of the fight, because 2 of the last 3 matchups, the national championship that they blew it in, and the SEC title game, either the year after or 2 years after, I don't remember which one, but, you know, generally around that time, they were up. They were in the driver's seat in both games, and they absolutely blew it. And you talk about, you know, Kirby Smart being under Saban before, trying to get this monkey off of his back, finally establishing a major win in his career as a head coach, you know, and you talk about how Georgia just has to seize the moment right now. They absolutely have to, because when has Alabama not had a first-round running back in recent memory? When have they not had 2 to 3 first-round wide receivers right now, you know, heading to the NFL in a year to come? And, you know, as good as Georgia is, they are at a deficit, unfortunately, at the quarterback head coaching matchup. But at the end of the day, you know, they are more talented on defense. They are more talented in other spots on the football field, you know, around Alabama. And, you know, for Alabama to really take charge in this game, they got to be consistent on offense. We've seen them really week in and week out not really look the same in back-to-back weeks. They're not getting the trench push like they used to. They're just straight up not as talented as we've seen Nick Saban, as we've seen the Crimson Tide in the last few years of college football. And you talk about, you know, it came in 3 of their last 4 games when you've seen Alabama struggle with some of these bad teams. No touchdowns until way late in the fourth quarter against that Auburn team. They've just been struggling overall, and this isn't a Bama team that we've seen. But if they want a true chance in this game, they got to show Georgia what it's like to actually play in the SEC. They have to make this game close, which I think it will be. I think Georgia wins. They don't cover. We'll get to that in a second, though. But, the fact that Alabama's playing their biggest game, Georgia's playing their biggest game. Georgia hasn't seen anybody like this in college football yet, and this is why it always comes down to, okay, how strong has your schedule really been, and who are you going to be against a good team? Because Georgia really hasn't played one outside of Clemson, and Clemson wasn't good in week 1. Georgia really wasn't either, but it is what it is. Score prediction now or after the end once you give your take?
No, that's coming next.
All right, cool. Go for it.
So, man, the keys to victory, definitely for Georgia, they're going to need to actually control the clock. They need to play to the strengths of their team, which is absolutely the defense. The defense has been giving them great field position. The defense has been scoring points, as Georgia's offense has not been actually as good as the point production that they've been putting up. The defense has been putting them in great spots. They need the defense to continue to show up. They need to not be just overwhelmed by the moment of being in the SEC championship, playing in the bins. I mean, that's somewhere where Bama lives. Like, they're comfortable playing there. So, I mean, Georgia has to stick to everything they've been doing. They need to sustain the run game, run early, often, and all through the game, and keep Bama's offense off the field as much as physically possible, because their offense is a lot more explosive than Georgia's. Georgia's just been, they've been running through teams because their defense, they'll score a pick 6, they'll create a turnover, get the ball in the red zone. All of a sudden, you're down 21-0. You're like, Jesus Christ. When you actually look at how it happened, it's like their offense is not explosive like that. The team collectively has come together to just run other teams off the field. So now on the flip side for Bama, what they need to do is come out and score. They need to take Georgia out of their comfort zone, which they haven't seen the entire year. Nope. They had no one just come out, put up 14 points in the first quarter, and be like, all right, come on. Like, y'all going to score with us today? They have not been pressed or asked to actually put points on the board. Like, you have to score. It's like, if Bama can get a lead, I think they'll take Georgia completely out of their comfort zone and just take care of the football. They're what we've been seeing, Georgia's been taking advantage of turnovers. If you take care of the football and score points and force them to beat you straight up, no one has actually made them do that. So, if they are able to expose that and force them to play a game that they have not played all season, it won't look like anything that you've seen all season. So, for both teams, they've got huge tasks. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Nick Saban over Kirby. So we'll move on from there. Say, who is winning this monster matchup?
I've got the Dogs in an absolute nail-biter. I wanted to go 31-28 Dogs. I'll take Georgia 28-27. I think Alabama doesn't really get a lot of your average to intermediate plays. I think they have a couple big shots. I think Georgia just wears the clock down, tries to pound the football on the 5th best run defense in the nation, and finally gets the monkey off their back. 28-27, Kirby Smart and the Dogs take it.
I see this as being yet another installment of the Nick Saban masterpieces in big games. Until Georgia wins one of these games, I just can't trust them, ever. Yeah. Yes, they do have the talent. They've got the defensive talent. Pound for pound, they probably have more talent on their team than Alabama does. And This is not the first time that that's been the case in one of these matchups. The biggest difference in the game is the fact that Nick Saban has his guys ready. He knows what to do. He knows what plays to call. He knows when to press, when to fall back.
Yep.
And he ultimately always gets it done. I see Bama taking this game 38-33. They're going to score far more points than Georgia has seen anyone score on them this season, and Georgia's not going to be able to respond. It's like culture shock. They're like, wait, I thought that we had the best defense ever, and no one could score more than 12 points on us, and you just got smacked in the mouth.
Right.
Now you're watching Jamison Williams run up the field like, that dude is really that fast? I saw him on the film, but I didn't know he could run like that.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to get inspired performances out of people on both sides of the ball. I absolutely see Bama taking this thing. And, just outside of that, I know there's been a lot of, I've just heard a lot of Georgia fans just be like, they're comparing head-to-head matchups like, well, we beat this team by this much, and Alabama beat them barely. It's like all those matchups weren't created equal. I mean, for one, in a game against Auburn, it's the Iron Bowl.
Right.
Auburn plays Alabama.
That's always a great game.
Like, I mean, that's the battle for the state.
That's arguably the best college football game every year. Let's just call it how it is.
It's like the state doesn't have a professional team. Everyone in Alabama is either an Auburn fan or an Alabama fan.
Yep.
Like that game, it doesn't matter if one team is on top and one is bad. The game is going to be tight. And on top of that, when Georgia played them, Bo Nix was starting. Bama played against T.J. Finley. They had little to no film on the dude. He looked like Cam Newton Jr. out there. I mean, the dude is huge. He brings a completely different dynamic to the offense. Just not the same team. But even the fact that they beat them in overtime, it's like, man, they actually had adversity, came back, overcame it, and still won the games. I mean, they've been battle tested. Like that right there goes a lot farther when we start talking about a monster matchup in an SEC championship game. They'd be like, okay, we have seen you get punched in the mouth, and you got back up, and you still made it happen. We've not seen Georgia get punched. Like, you might get punched and just fall. And then like, all of a sudden, you're like, man, what the hell happened? Like, they were not prepared for it.
Yep.
So, I don't really see Georgia stepping up. I mean, I think they'll come out and play tough football in the beginning. But, I mean, it could easily be a game where it's like, damn, how did Bama get up 17-3 early in the second quarter? Like, what is this? Like, then that completely changes the game plan on both sides.
Yep.
So I'm sure this will be a game where if Bama wins the coin toss, they're going to take the ball. They want to put points on the board, put pressure on Georgia's offense to perform, and let their defense step up as Georgia's trying to force the issue because that's not something that they're used to.
Right. I think Georgia wins this game physically on the field, or Alabama wins it mentally with Nick Saban, honestly. I think that's what it comes down to. I think that's what it comes down to. It will be won by coaching on Alabama's side if they come away with the victory, which they won't. Dogs 28-27. But if it does happen.
No, they're not going to win. Now, see, I got my sister in there, Roll Tide. That's how she go. I see a bunch of more Go Dogs folks in there, but I told you we got Roll Tiders in here.
Roll Tiders.
Absolutely. That's what I'm going to call them. So, man, after this weekend, we got the SEC championship. We also have all the other conference championship games. We won't act like there are no other football games being played. We got Michigan playing Iowa. We've got I don't know who's playing for the Pac because no one is in contention to get up there.
Yeah.
But you got Cincinnati playing Houston. Cincinnati sitting in the 4th spot. You got Oklahoma State playing Baylor. So like all of these games are actually highly significant in how this whole thing is going to play out.
Yeah.
Who do you have in your final four for the college football playoffs?
When it's all said and done, after Georgia wins the SEC title on Saturday, they will be the #1 team in the nation. Still voted in unanimously, no doubt about it. I also think Michigan wins their matchup as well, so they will stay at #2. Harbaugh is finally trying to get this team to where they need to be. I mean, we've talked about Michigan for a while, not on this show, but they've been talked about in the college football spectrum for a while, and it's about time that Harbaugh steps up to the plate. I also think Cincinnati wins their matchup as well, so they stay at #3. And Cincinnati's been a team that's just been lighting it up this year. We talked about Georgia and Cincinnati potentially in the national championship. That would be beautiful. I would love to see both of these teams end up facing each other, however, whenever, because that's how great both of them are. Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Cincinnati 3. At #4, I think you get some committee love here. They're feeling bad for this team, and they've got the record to argue with it. Some would say Oklahoma State. I'm throwing in Notre Dame at #4, and I think the 4 that goes into the college football playoff is Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Cincinnati 3, Notre Dame 4. No way a 2-loss team is getting in, and Alabama will have 2 losses that fall into Georgia on Saturday.
I mean, if it was to unfold the way that you called it, I still think Oklahoma State would go. They would have to lose. They're playing Baylor, who is ranked #9 right now.
Yeah.
If you
That's going to be a game.
Ranked #5, if you beat the #9 team in the nation, Notre Dame doesn't have any more games. They're not playing anyone. Mm-hmm. How in the hell could you justify them jumping a team that's already ahead of them after not playing? Mm-hmm. And then they beat another top 10 team.
Yep.
I mean, the committee might get blown up and fired. Like, at that point, you would have to put Oklahoma State in.
I believe we got a caller in the middle of our college football playoff rankings. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, yo, what's up? This Rio.
Hey,
Rio,
what's up,
what
Rio?
up?
What you got on your mind, brother?
Nothing much, man. I know y'all were talking about some other topics right now, but I want to go back to that Georgia and that Alabama SEC championship game.
All right.
Yeah, fees. Yeah, fees.
What's he saying? Yeah, fees for? Did you see what's on my hat?
I'm just saying, you talking about Georgia is not going to step up. They've been stepping up every damn game this whole season. What makes you don't think they're going to step up against Alabama?
I'm
That's the main
100%
one we
sure
wanna
I
get
already
at.
explained that. Like, I answered that question before you called. You were listening. You heard what I said.
Repeat it then, Fee.
Man, run the tape back.
Go ahead, Fee, my dog.
Run the tape back. Georgia has not shown us that they can do it in a big game. It's very similar to what I said about the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
No one said you're not a good football team. I'm not on here trashing or bashing by any means at all. What I'm saying is I have yet to see you show up in the biggest games.
Yep.
Until you do it,
See,
I don't trust you.
I see that. But every fan, like you came at us about their team the whole year. Florida, Arkansas, everybody said the same damn thing. And what we do, we stepped up.
Have you played
So I'm
Bama
telling
yet?
you now, this Saturday, we're going to step up, Fees. I'm letting you know now, dog.
Make sure you call back next Wednesday.
You got to be on.
I'm going to call back next Wednesday for sure, dog.
I wanna hear the groveling.
Y'all keep doing y'all thing, man. Great show. You know what I'm saying? I'm always here behind y'all and everything. And y'all keep at it, dog. Petty Sports. Some other topics right now, but I want to go back to that Georgia.
Hey, appreciate it.
I'll let
Appreciate
y'all-
it. Yeah, we can hear the feedback on you.
He's like, I want to. I'll hang up and listen.
Next
All
week,
right, I'll holler, dog.
next week I want to hear you grovel. I told you that all this chest beating. I literally explained all of that before he called in. But I'm gonna get back to my final four teams right quick. I'm giving you Bama at number 1. They're gonna jump Michigan after they beat Georgia. I mean, you beat the number 1 team.
Right.
This would be an easy one for them to jump to go to the 1 spot, especially since Michigan also has a loss.
Yep.
Michigan will stay at 2. I think the game being close, Georgia will only fall to 3. They're definitely not going to fall out of the top 4, losing the SEC championship, being undefeated, and in the 1 spot.
Right.
So they're still going to make the playoff. But I got Georgia at 3. I think Cincinnati will beat Houston. And the committee, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, Houston, they're ranked 21. And then you got Oklahoma State playing number 9 Baylor. So it's going to be a debate whether Cincinnati or Oklahoma State actually gets in. I think they'll give the nod to Cincinnati just because there's always been a push for the non-Power 5 schools to make it. The Big 12 will be up in arms about it. Oklahoma State will feel like they could have won the national championship, as anybody believes that. But they'll have a legitimate gripe about how they should have been in the playoff. But I mean, all in all, it won't matter. Whoever comes in at 4 is going to get blasted, whether the 1 seed is Bama or Georgia. Whoever comes in at 4 is not going to beat them. But I got Bama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. We get a Georgia-Michigan matchup, straight defense. That'll be a dogfight. And Bama will drag Cincinnati.
Agreed with that.
So that's what I'm looking at from my Final Four. And when it happens that way, I'm going to need all the groveling to happen. I need Rio to make sure he calls back. I need Graham to call in, send a message. You do whatever you do. You can come in here, sit right on the couch, and I want you to have all your Georgia gear on when you grovel. Like, don't come in here with no Braves championship gear. It ain't baseball season no more. All the stuff everybody been talking. I need all of y'all to keep that same energy when you lose. No excuses. That's how this thing works. You going to roll with the big dogs, then be there the entire time. You don't get to talk when you're up and then disappear. We know what you are. Y'all are a team that hasn't won since 1980 when Herschel Walker was playing for you. Y'all haven't won since most of you have been alive. I mean, that predates me. It's been a long time. Y'all want that respect and you think you're being disrespected? Win something. Be able to explain why you should get that respect without saying, but we're in the SEC, but Bama, but LSU, but Florida, but they all won in the SEC, not you. Everybody else has championships. Even Tennessee got one, like way more recently than you.
Yep.
You got Tennessee, Florida, LSU, Bama, Auburn, all of them won. They all play in that same SEC you playing, but somehow you can't get it done, and you ride the coattails of everyone else in the conference and then wonder why you don't get that level of respect. You got to win. All these other teams, they've got championships, and we can go across the conferences. You feel like Texas is inferior. Texas won in 05, and they went back in 09, and they lost to Bama. You know, the same Bama that's the excuse for every time you don't win it. It's like, but it was Bama. They lost to Bama, too. Clemson smacked Bama a couple of times. Ohio State ran through Bama. Why can't you get yours? Like, just pipe down. Y'all talk too damn much. And if you lose this game, I'm going to need you to forever shut the hell up. That's what it'll be. So now we have reached the 8:45 break. Uh-oh. It looks like we got somebody. I ruffled a feather.
Yeah, you fired someone up, bro. This is what we're here for.
Call from.
Oh, we don't know. You got to expose yourself.
Caller, where you calling from? What's your name?
What's up? What's up? Who's on the line?
Where they at, though?
If you scared, say you scared. Holla.
I mean, I said I was cutting a commercial break. You just called in to get me to stop bashing y'all. I wasn't bashing you. I'm just spitting facts.
He's like, I need a barrier. My heart is hurting.
Just spitting facts. That's all. Win something.
You're saying what I've said for the last 5 to 7 years.
Florida State won.
That's why I'm sitting in silence.
You
Because I've said it all.
You say, ooh, Oregon ain't nobody. Oregon made it to a national championship and a couple of playoffs.
Yep.
Notre Dame made it to the national championship. Oh, they lost to Bama, too. I mean, your legacy ain't no better than nobody's.
Right.
Okay, that got him to call back right
Say it
there.
with your chest.
Ken.
Oh, it's Ken. I knew it was
All
Ken
right.
calling in. What's up, Ken? We got you ruffled up about this SEC title game.
Pimpin' Ken, what's up?
What's up, guys? Hey, I'm loving it tonight because you guys are on point. Except,
Appreciate
Steve,
that.
you made a mad argument about Alabama. I'm an Auburn fan, so I really ain't got the biggest dog in the hunt on this one. Here's my take on this.
Okay.
I got Georgia winning. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think there's going to be a lot of factors in this game. You were right about the Nick Saban factor. Dude's a maniacal genius, Lord of the living room. We all know the stories. The guy has the pedigree, the history, everything. I do believe Georgia pulls this one off, but here's how Alabama sneaks back in and kicks everybody in the junk. Baylor's going to beat Oklahoma State. The committee cannot put Baylor in because it's just bad optics. They're only a handful of years removed from major probation and damn near the death penalty.
Yeah.
So you got Georgia still at number 1. You got Michigan at number 2 because I think they take theirs, not a problem. I think Harbaugh's got something going good in Michigan now. Cincinnati's going to go to number 3 because I don't see them losing. And then Baylor beats Oklahoma State, so you got to put somebody in there.
Indeed.
Why not a 2-loss Alabama team? And here's why. Because your 2 losses are against really, really good teams. You only have 1 regular season loss, and then you lose in your championship game, which is a true championship game, not a Pop Warner wannabe game like most of these other conferences play.
Yep.
I mean, let's face it, most of these other teams that are playing in these conferences championship games couldn't even beat Vanderbilt.
Right.
And that's just how I feel. But
that's-
you were on the
that's a
right
bit
track.
much.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Vanderbilt sucks. Let's not do that.
Oh, that's exactly where I was going with that. That's how bad. I mean,
Vanderbilt cannot win anyone else's conference.
there's some Georgia high school teams that beat Vanderbilt. We all know that. But at the end of the day, for real, in all honesty, that's how Alabama creeps back in. And you get a rematch of the SEC championship game, number 1 versus number 4, and then we go from there. And then you blow the committee up because everybody's mad because 2 SEC teams are in the playoffs. And we all know that everybody in the rest of the football world is sick and tired of that.
I mean,
I love it.
not so much sick and tired. It's like it's justified. I mean, when Bama beats Georgia, Georgia's not falling out of the top 4.
Right.
So they're going to get 2 wins.
Oh, absolutely not. So you're still going to have 2 versus 3 if Bama jumps to number 2.
Yep.
Bama's going to jump Michigan
Because
after they beat
if
Georgia.
Michigan wins, they'll throw Michigan at number 1.
I'm with you, Fees.
I don't think
if
so.
Alabama
I think
wins,
Alabama will jump Michigan.
right. If Alabama beats the number 1 team because of the committee and considering they beat the number 1 team and will only have 1 loss, I think they'll be the number 1 team. 100%.
Yeah, they'll absolutely.
Yeah, and then if you end up, I see what you're getting at. If you end up with a Georgia Alabama national championship game.
Yeah, you absolutely could end up getting that, but I mean, I wouldn't be 100% confident that Georgia's going to come out and beat Michigan because Georgia's offense is not actually what those scores would suggest that it is.
Right.
I mean, Michigan will have that'll be a knockout, drag-out, low-scoring game.
Yeah.
Those are 2 of the best defenses in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Oh, 2 great defenses.
Yeah.
Ken, we appreciate you, brother. We're about to hit some Lincoln Riley talk, which I know you'll love. Give us a call back afterwards if you want, man. We're going to hit this before we get to the top of the hour.
All right, guys. Once again, loving the show. Keep doing your thing.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate
Ken.
it.
All right, Fees, over to you about your boy has come home.
Sir. Yes, sir. Y'all see what it is. You see what's on the hat? It is the USC Trojans. Oklahoma Sooners head coach Lincoln Riley left the Sooners to head to sunny Southern California where it never rains. He is coaching the USC Trojans. Reportedly got a $110 million contract for 5 years.
My God.
He's getting $22 million a year.
That dude making more than an NFL running back.
Yeah, like I was thinking, I was like, man, they must have offered him like a Saban type package, but I think he's making more than Nick.
Wow.
I mean, they're expecting big things straight out the blocks. And I mean, they had to go big.
Yeah.
They gave him his money, but look at what else they did. USC bought both of his homes in Norman, Oklahoma for $500,000 over the asking price to give an extra $1 million bonus and unlimited use of the team's private jet 24/7 for his family.
Wow.
I mean, you just look at the levity of this thing.
Yep.
Oklahoma is a storied college football program. They've got plenty of championships, extreme pedigree. They're in the mix damn near every year. And you pluck the head coach from this team to take them to another one?
Right.
It's like you've got to have just as much pedigree and offer some above and beyond. And they absolutely did that. So, why do you think Lincoln Riley decided to leave Oklahoma to go to California?
This was a hard decision for him. I talked about it before we got on here. Kudos to Colin Cowherd. He actually got him on for a good little interview on the show. And Lincoln really opened up, Colin being a big fan, just really wanted to dig in. And he specifically said, take me to that moment when you decided that you were going to take the USC job. And he said he had a meeting. Actually went and slept on it the same day, woke up, had another meeting, and then decided, look, this was the best opportunity. With everything you just said, I mean, private jet, $500,000, that's going to sway anybody, especially if you're on the line, because they knew it was going to be, one of those types of situations for Lincoln Riley. But I think he didn't even jump ship, but he took his talents to USC because USC is a major brand in college football. We know that they need something happening over there. And I think it's going to be a quick uptick in what USC is going to bring to the college football game and how competitive they're probably going to be. All the recruits that are flipping now. I mean, we're going to get into that more as we roll through this. But Lincoln Riley just saw a better opportunity for him, for his family. He probably thinks this has some sort of NFL implications. Oh, okay, he had a Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts type of swagger over here. Now he's going to go to USC, probably chase a couple rings, then get recruited over to the NFL possibly. This is going to change so much of college football. So, overall, it was just a better look for him, and he took the leap. Hats off to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were multiple things that went into it. I mean, that definitely everything that you put into play. I mean, he's going to be able to even easier get the recruits because he was already getting the recruits.
Yep.
But he was getting the recruits from California. Now he doesn't have to persuade them to go anywhere.
Stay home.
It's a much easier sale to be like, come 30 miles up the road and play at SC, and your whole family can come see you play all your games, and we're going to be competing for championships and win the division every year. And speaking to winning the conference, I think that had a major part to play in it. Oklahoma's going to the SEC shortly. He's like, man, now I got to beat all the teams at the top, like they're not going to have 3 SEC schools in. So what, I got to beat all of them just to get a chance to get in? If I go over to California, now I can just win the pack and we get in. And then I just have to beat them one time. So I think the ease of getting in and staying in the same position as what Oklahoma was in before they moved over there into the power conference like that, I think that also weighed into it. It's going to be a lot of easier road traveled for him going to USC. I mean, you know, clearly I don't like to just dump on my own conference, but if you're like, I can have all the same amenities and live in California and not have to play them until we get to the playoff, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, okay, like I got maybe 1 or 2 more years that we move over there, and then it gets real.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm about to go over here and do my thing.
I want to digress, but I don't know the extent of like Lincoln Riley's background like that. He's obviously a fiery competitor. Colin asked him the same question, you know, did OU going to the SEC weigh into it? And he said 0. He said 0% at all. He said, I wasn't even thinking about having to face all these, you know, juggernaut Floridas, LSUs, Auburns, Georgias of the world that are going to be in that conference. He just took the leap for the better opportunity. So, and like I said, don't really know. You can argue it both ways because, hell, God, the SEC is going to be ridiculous. What, Texas and Oklahoma now?
Yeah.
I mean, geez, you got 2 more powerhouses going over there. So, I mean, hell, I would have loved to see Lincoln Riley in the SEC. I think that is what gets you to the NFL faster, in my opinion, than going for USC.
I mean, USC is such a big program. If he brings them back to the Pete Carroll days, then he'll absolutely get an NFL opportunity and it won't matter.
Yep.
And it'll probably be easier for him to do it. I mean, and what all else what they offered him, it's like, it is a no-brainer.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about the difference in living in Norman, Oklahoma, or L.A.
Right. Psych.
That's like being like, would you rather work for ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut, or Fox in L.A.? Yeah, I'm out of here.
Right. Gone.
Yeah, man. So where do you see USC going from here?
This is just going to be a breath of fresh air for USC. You know, this college overall is going to really enjoy having Lincoln Riley. You know, this is one of the youngest, most creative minds in the game, like I just alluded to. He's got Baker Mayfield for credit. He's got Kyler Murray credit. He's got Jalen Hurts credit. Hell, he even had the hype of Spencer Rattler. I mean, you're talking about this guy sending 4 first-round talent-worthy dudes, you know, of course, outside of Spencer Rattler, mentioning of the hype there, to the NFL, you know, in 4 consecutive years. That's huge for a head coach. I mean, we talk about, you know, how strong Oklahoma has been, again, with a Mayfield, with a Murray, with a Jalen Hurts. And, yeah, you're kind of getting, you know, some similar play styles up in there, but I still think there was a good adjustment to each season that really attributed to Lincoln Riley. I mean, he's just, you know, a lot of people say he's second to Nick Saban, or he's maybe third to Kirby Smart or a Harbaugh. You know, I mean, he's definitely a top 4, top 5 coach in college football right now. So this is just going to make a USC team
behind Dabo too.
Right. Of course, this is just going to make this USC team just truly believing they've got a super bright future. I mean, I think it'd be a, you know, much sooner rather than later type of outcome, especially considering, I mean, you got 5-star quarterbacks, linemen, running backs just flipping over immediately to USC because of Lincoln Riley. So this is huge for the university.
Oh, yeah, man. I think next season they'll contend to win the Pac-12. And after next season, they'll be winning the Pac-12 year after year, be in contention, making the playoffs. All of a sudden, SC will be back. And I'm loving it. Y'all see I had to come in with the SC gear on today. It's not the first time you've seen it. Y'all just didn't really care because we weren't good. So you know how it go. So I'm going to be the first to let y'all know we're back.
Jeez.
Yes, sir. Y'all don't want to hear about it. Georgia, you better win a damn championship right now because if we start winning again, I'm going to be trashing y'all. Always reverting back to nothing. Let me know about the glory days. Oh, there ain't none.
We got to turn it back.
There are none.
Get off of them, bro. Damn, we don't play till Saturday. It's okay.
Georgia Tech has a more recent national championship than Georgia. Hey, it doesn't matter. They got it. I mean, Georgia would love to have shared something other than a story
Bill,
about how he almost
tonight, right?
won.
Bell said he was on sound tonight. What's up with this? Slanderation of the dog.
Hey, you don't get to cut me off. Nah. But it is his time, though. It is the top of the hour. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to get off your Bulldogs, and I'll stop gloating about the hire of Lincoln Riley because I've been pulling for Urban Meyer for God knows how long, and the football gods said that's not what you need, and then they gave me Lincoln, so I appreciate them for that. So, man, y'all keep this thing locked. We're going to come back. We're going back to the NFL. We got to talk about a specific quarterback in the Pacific Northwest and see what his future is looking like. Somebody who talks about cooking. So y'all stay tuned.
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in once again on this Wednesday night, 8 o'clock every week right here. You're watching Petty Sports with Famous Facts Fees and Adam Lewis, all brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. Thank you so much for tuning in. We see you out there in the chat rooms. It's real live, hot and heavy. Thank you for the callers that have called in. Do feel free to call in, anyone, at 678-871-9602, 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show tonight. We'd love to hear from you and love to have you share your take. And do go over to the different podcast platforms at iHeart, Google, Spotify, stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Just type in Petty Sports. You can Google Petty Sports, and it'll take you right to one of those different platforms. You can hear some of the latest and greatest shows from the past, and this show tonight will air maybe in a couple of days. So thank you so much, everybody. We greatly appreciate your support. Go to Book of Fed. YouTube, do us a big favor and hit that subscribe button, you know what I'm saying, so we can tickle that algorithm, you know what I'm saying, get the numbers up. We're trying to really drive some numbers over here, you know what I'm saying, because these guys do a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do, ladies and gentlemen. And big shouts out to Famous Facts, Fees, and Adam. They come in here and lay it down every week for you guys, and I think they really, they might get a little moist when they do this show. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch out for these guys, man. They really, really like what they're doing up here. And to Famous Facts Fees, man, the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while, and that'll be Saturday. So don't get this twisted, cat. You know what I'm saying? The dog's going to show up. I'm rooting for the home team like always. And like you said, we'll see you next Wednesday with the feedback. You know what I'm talking about? We got the other dog, not the atomic dog. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
You sound like a beat up dog.
Not yet. This dog a hunt right here, baby. You'll see Saturday. Back to the regular scheduled program.
Oh, man. Appreciate you, Bell. We are at the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday night, Petty Sports, we start at 8 Eastern, but if you're just now hopping in at 9:03, we got a loaded hour. We already chopped it up about Lincoln Riley, some great college football. Now let's get to a team that is 4 games below 500, might be the most disappointing team in the NFL right now. It's the Seattle Seahawks, and is it time, Fees, to maybe accept that it's an end of an era? Do we need to let Russ not cook anymore and be a food runner?
Yeah, I think Russ is absolutely a highly glorified food runner now. He was cooking, and I have been on the Russ train. Like, Russ has been consistently one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and most disrespected for what his talent is. But whether it be via injury or just some of his own actual doing, it seems like the game is about past him now. Like, he's not that Russ anymore. They're getting behind week after week, trying to come back. He can't create that magic anymore. He tried to come back this week. Monday night against Washington. It was just too little, too late. At the end of the day, Russ holds the ball too long. He still has a really good wide receiving core, and people always fault the offensive line, saying like he's the most sacked quarterback in the league. He's the most sacked quarterback because he holds the ball waiting on a home run for every play. If Russ could learn how to take an underneath crossing route for 5 yards as opposed to trying to hit DK or Lockett on a 90-yard bomb on every snap, maybe he wouldn't get hit so much. It's not like he's running like that. He doesn't run very much, and he should run a little bit more because he can. He's a mobile quarterback that does not use it. You very rarely see Russ just take off and run when there's a seam or a little pocket to the outside. He's going to run and stretch the play and run out and watch defenders run at him at a 90 miles an hour and then try to unload the ball so he gets smacked and then hopes that ball lands where he expected it to go. It's like you can't, like, that's not a model that's going to last for too long. And it seemed like initially he was playing it safe because when he does run, he usually slides and he doesn't take big hits when he runs. He gets destroyed holding the ball, waiting to deliver these deep balls. So, yes, Russ needs to be the food runner. And what the food runner looks like is more of a game manager. Stop going for everything. If Russ would just take the short intermediate passes and have longer drives, stop getting hit, he would create so many more opportunities for his team. But he really is doing this to himself. And quite frankly, watching him be 2-6 this season as the starter, it looks like he's now on the downside. He's exited his prime and entered the, how much longer are you going to play, Russ?
Yeah, that's tough to say, but, you know, considering how he always plays on the back half of a season, and how we've seen Russell Wilson in big games in the last few seasons of his career not show up. And, you know, there's the question of, should he go from Russ the Magician to Russ the runner of food? But I think another thing you got to ask yourself is, you know, we talked about it before the season started, Pete Carroll being on the hot seat. He was on my hot seat. And is it time for the Seahawks to finally let go? Is it time to accept that the Seattle Seahawks are really looking at the end of an era right now? Pete Carroll is the oldest coach in the oldest head coach in professional football right now. So I just think in general, the game has moved past him. The Seahawks have become very predictable on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you'll see them run it up for 6, 8, 10 weeks in the NFL, and then you're talking about them being a bottom-scraping offense. The defense is still waning back, and you're just not getting that consistent number one, you know, top 3 NFL team that so many people like to throw this Seattle Seahawks team into when they're sitting at 3-7. 3-7. This is the first time Russell Wilson has lost 3 straight games in his career as a starter. This is one of the few times that Russell Wilson has not accounted for a touchdown in 2 straight games as a starter. This is one of the first times that Russell Wilson is going to look at being below 500 as a starter in his career. And, you know, here's just a little snippet of the problem right now. I said it before the season started, and I kind of thought, you know, we've seen some dysfunction in the NFC West. You know, Niners have been hurt. Cardinals have been held back by Cliff Kingsbury, and the Rams have just had Jared Goff. You know, we've argued about the upgrade to Matthew Stafford. But with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, maybe it was now their time to face some dysfunction. Maybe now it was their time, and as we've seen, the Rams, the Cardinals are trying to get towards the front of this division. You know, the game has just moved past the Seahawks. I mean, the fact that Russell Wilson's favorite red zone target is DK Metcalf. Do you know who number 2 is? It's not who you think it's going to be.
I was like, apparently that means it's not Lockett.
It's not Tyler Lockett. It's not even Everett. It's Freddie Swain.
Really?
Freddie Swain is his second favorite target in the red zone. That's coaching. That is drawing plays up for that type of tight end. Not for Tyler Lockett, who was there before DK. Not before you're looking for a maybe, you know, slip screen from your running back. Like, Seattle can produce those, even though they're not going to come out with very healthy running game. That's still a simple play to run through your playbook, and that's something we're not seeing out of Seattle. It's time for acceptance. It's time to move on for the Seahawks. They've got talent. It's time to really get someone that can draft, put defense on a team, and not holding on to the golden days of the Seahawks, like you said. So The Seattle fans just have to accept that it is time to move on, man, from Russell Wilson. Well, not Russell Wilson, but I think it's more Pete Carroll than it is Russell Wilson right now. But, man, we got such a loaded weekend watch. AFC teams are just rolling right now. So many playoff implications coming into Week 13. Man, today's December 1st. This is when boys become men in the NFL. So we're going to talk about these 6-5 Chargers taking a travel to see the Cincinnati Bengals for the first game of the weekend watch. And the AFC race is so tight. You know, who is going to be able to pull out a big win for their team? Is it going to be Joe Burrow, or is it going to be Justin Herbert that delivers a blow in this AFC?
I mean, in this game, I definitely like Joe Burrow. The way he's been playing, the kind of swag they've had, he's gotten a connection back with Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon is playing like what he's actually been living up to the expectations. I mean, he had I don't know what, I can't remember if it was a domestic violence issue or whatever it was coming in, which dropped his draft stock. But before any of that hit, He was a top-flight running back coming out of college, and he's proven to be exactly what we thought he was coming into the NFL. So, I mean, they've got a very young core with Burrow, Mixon, and Chase. They're looking great. Their defense is actually starting to turn it up a notch. And I really feel like the Chargers are actually kind of reeling. Justin Herbert has not lived up to the expectation that he had coming into the season.
Yep.
So, no, you were very high on him, and you were not the only one. There was a lot of people that were on the Herbert train, thinking that they would overtake the Chiefs to win the division, thinking that they were a legit contender to come out of the AFC, and the Chargers have been anything but that.
Yep.
He's had a disappointing season. He's looked like what I told you all he would be. He's a good quarterback, and they're still not winning games. They lost a lot of close games, and they're still losing a lot of close games.
Yep.
They're a middle of the road football team. That's what they are. And they're going to lose to an emergent Cincinnati team. We weren't really sure because Joe Burrow didn't play very much last year. We're like, when he played, Cincinnati looked like they might be legit.
Yep.
And now that he's getting a full season under his belt, Cincinnati is legit.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Cincinnati. They're sitting in the 5 spot at 7-4. They're going to make an advancement here. I mean, they're really running down the necks of Baltimore. They're only one game behind them.
Yep. Still playing very good football, and with Baltimore being so shaky, it's definitely Cincinnati's division to win at this point, especially in this type of NFL season. So the Chargers, and we said it before, November, December football is really where you're made. Fool's gold is out. You've got your flaws exposed. You've got a couple losses. Who are you now as a football team? And this Chargers team has went from 4-1, 4-2, if I'm not mistaken, to now a 6-5. I might be off a little bit. I know I'm not tied on the record there, but they have dropped.
Chargers 6-5.
There you go. They have dropped 4 of their last 6 games. And this is a team that, they've got so much talent. They've got a defense that can pop. They're finally healthy on certain parts of the football, like I talked about coming into this year. And Brandon Staley was new life coming into this team. We know how it was with him losing close games, not having good offensive game plans, just being abysmal on the defensive side of the football. But I think now, with seeing how some of these game plans are being drawn up, with seeing how Brandon Staley is now, settling in, facing adversity, dealing with a little bit of difficulties in this part of the season. Now the Chiefs are coming around. The Raiders are beating the Cowboys. Like, you've got parts in your division that are moving, and I just don't think the Chargers are ahead of that curve yet. I think, and I hate to say that because I love Herbert, Eckler, Allen, Mike Williams. I love all of them over there, okay? They are a team that is talented enough to win a Super Bowl. Will they be coached to that point, though? That is yet to be seen. So believe it or not, when Mike Williams actually produces on a good level, the Chargers are 4-1. When he doesn't, they're the exact opposite, and they're 1-4. They don't win football. They're basically living and dying by Mike Williams. So he's got to produce. He's got to be next to Keenan Allen. He's got to be next to Austin Eckler. And, as far as the Bengals go, you alluded to it. Oddly enough, so Jamar Chase, he is still getting some of his touches, but T. Higgins is now getting introduced into the role. Jamar Chase, I want to say, has had a few weeks now where he's not popped over 75, 80 yards. He's still a good receiver, and he's still in the talks, of course, for Offensive Rookie of the Year next to Mac Jones. But now you got Uzomah coming around. Now you've got T. Higgins coming around. Joe Burrow's getting comfortable. Joe Mixon, back-to-back 120-yard-plus games. I mean, that's a guy that when he's healthy, I mean, he's a Kamara, he's a Eckler, he's a Saquon when he can truly get working in that offense. So I am going to take the Bengals here. What is the line? I see it right there on the screen. Bengals -3. I think the Bengals win. I think they cover. They're just a better football team. Yeah. Defense is better. They're just more put together. And right now, Zach Taylor looks better as a coach, oddly enough, than Brandon Staley. Next game here on the weekend, watch, again, another 6-5 Broncos team traveling in their division to see the Kansas City Chiefs. Does Kansas City kind of show us a championship form here, or are the Broncos going to go for back-to-back division wins?
I think this is a really, really tough football game. I think Denver comes out and they really play smash-mouth football. They will make Pat Mahomes turn the ball over multiple times because Pat has turned back into Texas Tech Pat, and I don't know if he has that other Pat back in him. It's like he's really had it, the regression has been like just mind-blowing to see how far back Kansas City has come from the last couple of seasons. And they had 3 years of greatness, and all of a sudden they look very pedestrian now, and it's not because of injuries. They've got their full complement, and they're just not really looking like Kansas City. mean, I think this is going to be a very, very tight football game, but at the end of the day, I cannot take Teddy Bridgewater to win a close game against Pat. I think Pat has a pedestrian game and does just enough at the end of the game for Kansas City to pull out a very close one. That -10 line is outlandish. Kansas City will win. They will not cover.
Wesley, I don't know why you're asking me silly questions. The Saints are 5-6, and we're making a switch to a quarterback. Do you agree with this, Fees? Ken says, I think Russ is starting to suffer the same fate as Cam Newton.
I mean, I think that's a bit much. I mean,
It's not the same situation, really.
Russ's time period of sustained greatness is a lot longer than Cam's.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about
I can't
Russ.
call Cam great besides one season.
We're talking about Russ being a first ballot Hall of Famer, even though Cam does have the one season where he won an MVP and Russ didn't. Like, he never did that. Russ did go to back-to-back Super Bowls, and he has been an elite top 5 quarterback for the better part of his career. Like, we can't say that about Cam, but that is an interesting comparison.
Yeah, definitely a nice one to throw to us there, Ken. So Broncos at Chiefs, big AFC West implications. Broncos, oddly enough, they started off 3-0, haven't went super well down the stretch, but they're sitting at a 500 record right now. They're sitting in in a section of that AFC West to where, I feel like they got as good a chance as anybody. I mean, the Raiders are winning games. The Chiefs are doing their thing. The Chargers are coming around. This is one of shaping up to be one of the toughest divisions in football right now for sure. We know about the secondary. We know about what the defense can do. They're trying to adjust without Von Miller, so they've taken a little bit of a step back. But when we turn around and look at Kansas City and how they've been able to, improve on the defensive side of the ball and try to work in more creativity with that offense, not trying to live and die by Patrick Mahomes, we can't sit there and say that, that was great against Jordan Love. That was great against Daniel Jones. That was, great against a Cowboys team that didn't have 3 of their 5 best players, basically, when that game got into the thick of it. I do take the Chiefs to win this football game here. I do think they cover against the Broncos. They're clearly just the better team. I'll say Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes over a lot of people in the NFL right now. I understand that is still hard for them, to play defense and really stop people. But this Broncos team, it is going to be a smash mouth football game. It is going to be a type of game to where you might think for a second Denver's going to take this one. I think Kansas City wins it, though, and they're looking to get better, obviously, as the weeks go
by
on.
11 or better?
Oh,
That's
it's 10?
big spread.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, not covering the spread. I don't know why I thought it was 3. Definitely not by 11 or better.
No, that spread is huge.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful, really.
That is a nut spread because considering the Broncos just beat the Chargers and the Chiefs are favored by 10 after not really playing anybody for the last month. I don't know what type of crack Vegas is on. I guess they're trying to win you money, lose it. I don't know. All right, now we got one that we're all going to pipe up about. West is for some reason going on about it, but they're not even in here, man. This is a whole nother team. Patriots are taking their 5-0 road record, I believe. Yeah. To Buffalo. And they're going to play Sean McDermott and Josh Allen, who have been really fool's gold. I still think to this point they're too overrated. Who you got taking home a great game over the weekend?
I mean, I'm absolutely taking the Patriots to come in there, put together another solid defensive performance. So, I mean, that's really what it's been. New England has been playing lights-out defense. That is one of, if not the best defense in the NFL right now. They will get multiple turnovers. Josh Allen will throw interceptions. They will create fumbles. Mac Jones will take care of the football. He's not been just blazing up the stat sheet or doing anything to where you think that, he's an elite quarterback. But Mac Jones has been accurate as hell. 70% for the season.
Ridiculous. As a rookie.
Even if you look at last week, you're like, he didn't wow us, but the dude was, he was like 23 of 32 for 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had almost the exact same stat line with a better completion percentage as Aaron Rodgers did. And we talk about how Aaron Rodgers carved up the Rams defense. It's like, at some point, you had to get this man some credit. Like, Mac Jones he's doing his job. I mean, that's the whole mantra in New England is to do your job. They're not asking him to throw for 400 yards or 4 touchdowns. They're asking him to make big throws on occasional third downs, take care of the football, make short intermediate passes, manage the offense. They run the ball. They play great defense. I think New England will continue to do what they're doing. This win streak is going to carry on to 7 straight football games for a team that looked like they were dead in the water at 2-6. Or 2-4, my bad.
A new segment on the show real quick because Wes wants to be petty. Let's play fact or cap, where this is all cap. Patriots low-key got exposed. We had 3rd and 4th stringers out there, and they didn't look that nice. Fees go, because this is absolute BS. The Patriots didn't look that nice winning by 26.
I mean, low-key got exposed.
What's our record? Bro, come on, dog. Come on.
I mean, I don't understand how you get exposed winning a game by 26 points.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Oh,
I mean,
God.
Wes,
don't become jaded because Mac Jones isn't.
This is what I have to say to you, Wes. We appreciate the spirits for the evening. The ass whooping that the Patriots gave the Tennessee Titans sponsored this bottle of Jameson.
Sponsored by Wesley Davis. This segment is brought to you by Wesley Davis Factor Cap. Also brought to you by Jameson Stout Edition. But you need to send us some money first. Yeah, Wes, definitely not exposed, bro. Don't become jaded because Mac Jones can do less and win more. Okay, we said Mac Jones is going to win anywhere from 7 to 12 games as a Patriot starter. So it's okay, bro. Derrick Henry's coming back. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, you're doing all right. You're in the AFC. You're towards the top. Let me not run too much with it though.
Yeah, don't give Tennessee airtime.
So the Patriots, man, they're clearly the federal football team here. I think they win this one outright. I think Bill Belichick throws a lot of confusing looks towards Josh Allen at this point in the season because, again, it's December. We know what type of team New England is right now, and we know what type of team that the Bills and that Josh Allen can be. We've said it. 40-0 against the Texans was nothing through 3 quarters. They've had games to where Josh Allen has not put up the type of numbers that we thought. The offense has sputtered out. We've seen the defense get points put up on them and absolutely ran through like nothing else with a Jonathan Taylor, The Patriots probably have the best defense in the NFL right now. They're clearly a top 10 offense, numbers-wise, schemes-wise, knowledge-wise. They have the best coach in football. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the Bills are absolutely dead in the water in this matchup because we know the Bills are, they try to be one of the heavy hitters in the NFL. But, Buffalo, again, they are not a team that scares me on a consistent basis. New England, with what they're getting on, the free agents, the draft picks are popping. I mean, they had the best offseason, and they're now in the running for having the best season with a rookie quarterback. Patriots win here. Spread is, Patriots actually upset on the road. Bills are -3, but the Patriots win. Bet your money. This is a good one for the weekend.
Absolutely.
Last one here before we roll out. AFC North. Again, so many AFC playoff matchups here. The AFC North, the Ravens, the Steelers. Does Lamar Jackson lead the charge here, or do the Steelers finally rebound on defense and have a good day at the office, man?
Like, this is one of those extremely difficult games to call just because it's a heated division matchup,
Yep.
which almost all the matchups this week are division games.
Yep.
I mean, the Ravens are clearly better than the Steelers, but the Ravens don't show up for the first 2.5 quarters of every football game they play.
Yep.
And, I mean, it's being such a rival that it is, Pittsburgh, they're going to be inspired to play against Baltimore. It's always a smash mouth, we're going to try to kill you guys game just because of the history that they had between each other. It was like, even though Pittsburgh is extremely untrustworthy, every blue moon, Big Ben has a game where it's like, oh, maybe he does have a little juice left in the tank. So I think this will be one of those games where Baltimore starts slow and Pittsburgh actually takes advantage of them, and the raggedy Pittsburgh Steelers will actually get another win just to stay up one game above 500, still have bad draft position. It's like they're a bad team that's better than the worst bad teams. They're like the top of the mediocres.
So, in other words, they have like no business winning this game, but they will.
Yeah, this is going to straight up be a pride win and a Baltimore Ravens meltdown.
Yeah. I hate to say that. I don't 100% agree. I don't think it's a meltdown by Baltimore, but I don't think Baltimore covers a spread of 4 here that they have. Because again, Baltimore, I mean, you said it all well, man. They play 2.5 quarters of football. They don't score in the first quarter. They don't score in the first half. You can throw the ball around the yard on them. And I will say this. Rebuilding your backfield's hard as hell. Just think about this. No Mark Ingram, no J.K. Dobbins, no Gus Edwards. That was their backfield the last 2 seasons. Or the last last season, excuse me. And now that's completely gone. We've seen Lamar Jackson be a leading rusher of this team time and time again, game after game. But when people are going to, be playing you in a type of way where the ball has to be in Lamar's hands, he's shown us this year that he can do that, but that's not really a prime spot considering the culture, the physicality, the rushing offense and presence that Baltimore, has brought to the NFL. But they got to get going quick. They got to get going often because when the Steelers show up, not if, but when, because they have that culture, they have that type of team. TJ Watt's going to have to perform. Minkah Fitzpatrick, all their players that they have out there that make that Steelers defense. It's going to become a hard game for the Ravens if they don't get going early and often. And you talk about how, Lamar just has to bury the tape on the previous game. I mean, he really does. 4 interceptions. I know you win 16-10. That's not anything you ever want to see. No. And you got to get creative with the run game. Like I said, you are rebuilding your backfield. What can Harbaugh pull out? What can Lamar and Harbaugh collab on, jet sweeps, kind of end arounds, whatever it takes to get more of a physical push up front for this Baltimore team. So I do take the Ravens here to win this football game. They won't cover, though, because both of these teams are just super shaky, and it's a divisional matchup at the end of the day, man. That wraps it up for the weekend watch. When we come back from the sponsor break here.
Hold on.
Oh, you got some comments out there?
Mike on the mic, our resident Chargers fan, has chimed in on the YouTube.
Good, man. Whoa.
He says, Bills 38, Pats 17. If you don't take your raggedy Chargers predictions out of here, he's just mad because I be on his page every week watching the Pats walk up his power rankings. There's no way on God's green earth they score 38 points on our defense.
Not possible.
Josh Allen.
Not possible at all.
It's not last year's Josh Allen.
Nope. Bills paid him too fast. Hate to say it, but the Bills paid him too fast.
They're extremely one-dimensional. They do not run the football.
And Bill Belichick eats one-dimensional teams alive.
Especially if you're you're going to pass? Like, we kind of have a ridiculous pass rush.
Here's 6 DBs.
You know how many times you're going to see Matt Judon step up after he sacks Josh Allen and wipe his face, red sleeve, just every single time. I'm going to have the red sleeves on Monday night. Make sure you follow me live.
Bills 38, Pat 70. That's disrespectful, Mike.
It is.
Come on, man. We're in the game together, bro. You can say the Bills are going to win, but God, by 21, Josh Allen.
It's not even logical.
Right. Josh Allen has not shown. The Bills have not shown at any point in this season that they're capable of playing one-dimensional against a team like the Patriots, against a defense like that, and coming out on top. On that note, Bell, I'm going to throw it to you before we jump into the Week 13 picks and spreads.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Great job, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in right now to Petty Sports Wednesday night edition, like every week at 8 o'clock, all brought to you by Kingz Broadcasting Studios. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with the crew at the table making it do what it do. And we greatly appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? You could have just matter of fact, just call in.
Yeah, Mike.
678-871-9602. 678-871-9602. That's how you can be a part of the show and the conversation tonight. We look forward to hearing from you, all right? You know what I'm saying? Where you at, Wesley? Call in, man, so we can thank you all at once for this nice bottle you blessed the studio with tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, man, you know, we like to, this, like I said earlier, this the season of giving, and I see you in the spirit. And that's a good thing, man. So don't feel bad. You on your job, man, and you know, we some thirsty cats up in here tonight, all right? So, ladies and gentlemen, go to the different podcast platform, iHeart, Google,
Wesley.
Spotify, and Apple.
Appreciate
you know what I'm
it, brother.
saying? And join the page, subscribe, download some of the shows. Type in Petty Sports. That's how you can access the shows on those different platforms. And go to YouTube. Subscribe to Petty Sports with a Z. Hit the notification bell so whenever the show goes hot, you will not miss a beat. And everybody that's in the chat room, man, y'all pumping tonight. I see you out there, Kenneth. You know what I'm saying? Mike on the mic. I saw Just Good Sports Network in there earlier with Jansen. I see you, Cher, Jamila. Hey, thank you so much for your support. Y'all some A1s out there. You know what I'm saying? A1 since day one. Every week y'all show up, and show out. And we see you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And support black business. Support black businesses, because we do ATL. Hold back to the regular schedule program.
Oh, man. The comments are popping. The phone line is popping. The content is working, guys. We're about to get into our Week 13 picks and spreads for the NFL season. Y'all, it's December 1st. All the fool's gold is out the window. Look, like I said, at this point, everybody has had a bad loss, maybe two. Everybody's flawed. Most of the league is injured right now, with the exception of, oddly enough, the New England Patriots right now. They might be the healthiest team in the league, one of the healthiest for sure. Yeah, go ahead, Fees, pick up the helmet. We know, bro. Yeah, you know what, man? Y'all are looking good, and only because you're my co-host will I root for a Mac Jones, Tom Brady Super Bowl. If it gets to that point, if they really emerge.
Crazy.
Well, because here's the thing. I'm already bought into the Patriots. I think the Patriots are a game or two away from really being the best team in the AFC. Yes, even with a rookie quarterback. Like, your eyes aren't going to lie to you. The Patriots are playing great right now.
Definitely the most consistent football.
Exactly. Winners of 6 straight. They've just been, making it happen. Oddly enough, y'all are on a 6-game win streak since losing to the Saints, right?
No, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys, you're right. Yeah, because y'all played
overtime game.
Right, y'all played them close. Really showed a crack in the armor there. But geez, man, December 1st, Week 13 is already here. We'll be watching the Super Bowl in like 2 months. Jeez, bro. All right, let's see the results here from Week 12. I gained a little lead on Fees. I did go 10-5. He did drop down to a to 7-8 for Week 12. Or maybe I went 11-4. I can't get these things right, man. But I know the season record is correct. I'm up by 11. Jeez, it's wrong on the graphic too. So I want to say I went 10-5. 10, 11 wins. I don't know. I got double-digit wins, but I'm up by 11 on Fees. 113.65-1. Fees is at 102.76-1. I can't count, but I don't know if he's going to make the graphic next week, man. I'm just struggling. Looks like so far.
I'm going to have to look into this. I think he's win shaving.
Yeah, I'm over here poaching W's.
I know he's winning, but I don't think he's winning by that much.
All right, man, let's get into the Week 13 predictions of the NFL season. We'll start out with tomorrow night, where Taysom Hill is finally, thank God, going to be taking the starting job over Trevor Siemian. Saints are underdogs at home, still only having won one game in Louisiana this season. They're plus 4.5. Cowboys at Saints. Fees. Who takes home this one?
Man, the Cowboys have to win this game. Just the way their season has been looking and the way they're kind of just backpedaling through their division. They've got their division still pretty much wrapped up, but they need to actually prove to themselves that they can actually play some consistent football. I think they'll come out against the Saints and they'll actually try to come with a heavy complement of running and try to get away from Dak throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game. And this will be one of those games where they'll beat their chest, but it's like, we're not giving you extreme credit for beating the Saints, especially the way the Saints team is constructed at this moment.
Yep.
But the Cowboys have to win the game. I think they're favored by 4.5. I think they will win and they will cover.
I gotta agree with you. Dallas is clearly the better team. Even without 3 of their top 5 best players, it could be easy for Dallas now to cover the spread here. Because we don't know about a main core of their offense right now. The Saints are reeling. They haven't won a game with Trevor Siemian as the starter. They haven't won a football game in over a month. They are giving up boatloads of points to teams that have absolutely no business scoring that much. Dallas wins here. They cover the spread. It's another tough loss for the Saints at home. The Saints are just reeling at this point. I mean, I think we're headed for maybe a top 15, 20 draft pick. Hate to say it, saw it coming though. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Atlanta is plus 11 hosting the defending champs. Who you got here?
Oh, definitely picking Tampa. I mean, Tom Brady has never lost to the Falcons, even after he's gone into the division and plays them twice a year. He's still never lost a game to them. They do tend to somehow get down to the Falcons and then have to come back, but even the last time they got down to them and they still ended up beating them by 20 plus.
Mike Edwards is like, oh, give me, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, the plus 11 spread is very legitimate. I think Tampa wins and they cover the spread.
Can't disagree with you there. Tampa's clearly the better football team. I think Arthur Blank needs to sell the Falcons at this point. I don't know what's going on. With the Atlanta Falcons, you go from beating the Saints in the Dome and apparently running for a 2 or 3 seed in the NFC South, which much as that's not an accomplishment. Kyle Pitts was, again, clearly not the right pick for Atlanta. Don't mean to be all over Atlanta's case, but it is what it ain't. Tampa wins, covers the spread. Bet your money. Let's move on. Arizona at Chicago. Kyler Murray at Justin Fields. Probably might be my top 2 favorite players in the NFL right now. Just love what they bring to the table. Arizona at Chicago. Chicago +8 at home. Who you got?
I mean, this is simply a massacre. Chicago is a bad football team. I mean, Justin Fields, he's not really shown that he actually can be the player that we think that he is.
Right.
I mean, in a lot of instances, we get Andy Dalton out there, and I mean, we watched Andy in Dallas, and we saw that he was nowhere near what we thought he actually was. I mean, we thought he was the best backup in the league, and if you lose your quarterback, you'll be fine. And that was absolutely not the case. He's not that guy. Justin clearly isn't ready. He's got a lot of time, so, I mean, he can change the narrative. But at this point, there's no reason to believe that Arizona doesn't win this game by 30.
No question about it. By 30 might be a stretch, but I could definitely see a double-digit two possession W here for Arizona. I'm going to love to see the battle of Kyler Murray and Justin Fields going back and forth overall. In this game, and we've got Cliff Kingsbury against Mack Nagy, 2 coaches who were definitely speculative walking into the season. I think Cliff Kingsbury has now secured his spot as a coach for years to come. And I just think the problem right now with Chicago's Matt Nagy, they're just, it's not that they're reeling on all aspects, but they're just straight up not playing good football. They're not really getting better or worse. They're just staying the same and being a bad football team. So Arizona wins. They cover the spread. Take your points, bet your money. Let's move. Chargers at Cincinnati. We chop this one up. Got Cincinnati winning and covering. How about you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is finally I picked the home team to win a game. The first 3 games, I got the road teams. You can't bet on all the road teams. That never happens.
Right.
So I'm not doing that. Cincinnati at home, -3 against the Chargers. I think Cincinnati wins this game, and they cover the spread easily.
100%. Joe Burrow, I think, outplays Justin Herbert in this one. And Justin Herbert hasn't really been reeling the past few games, but it's just the Chargers are reverting back, and the Bengals are not. The Bengals are moving forward. The Chargers are taking steps back.
Yeah.
Bengals win. They cover the spread. Bet your money. Let's go. Minneapolis.
Who you got in this game, Mike? You in there in the comments. Let us know. Are you picking your Chargers to beat the Cincinnati Bengals? I think the only team that me and Mike agree on are these USC Trojans. We both USC fans. I can rock with them in college.
There we go. Mike, hop in. Mike, call the show, man. We'd love to have you in here, man. We're rolling through these picks. Let's get to Kirk Cousins and his Minnesota Vikings at Jared Goff and his winless Detroit Lions. Detroit's at home. They are underdogs, of course, +7. Vikings at Lions. I know who you got, but who you got?
What time is this game being played?
I think 1 o'clock.
Yeah, look at the graphic. 1 o'clock. Minnesota. Kirk Cousins. You like that? That's what he does. 1 o'clock Minnesota game, they'll cook you. Kirk Cousins is a monster when he's not on primetime, and he's playing against a bad Detroit Lions team. I think Minnesota wins this game handily. The 7-point spread might actually not be big enough.
Might not be big. How do you mean that?
Like, I think it should be higher in favor of Minnesota.
Oh, like it could be, it could easily be double digits.
Minnesota could beat them. Like, they could run them off the field.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Right. Well, here's the funny part. So if there's anything about Minnesota and Detroit, is they're pretty alike in the facet that Minnesota's going to take you down to the wire. If the Lions decide to show up and play, they're probably going to take you down to the wire. We've seen it a couple times this year. We've seen it all of this year. A couple times this year with Detroit. We've seen it all of this year with Minneapolis. But like you said, Kirk Cousins, 1 o'clock, you're going to get you like that. Kirk Cousins taking the helmet off in the back locker room, throwing for, 300-plus yards, couple touchdowns, no picks. And Detroit's just, they're the worst team in the NFL. No wins. Dan Campbell. Jared Goff is... he's playing bad. He's in a bad environment, but he's playing bad. And DeAndre Swift, I hope he gets out soon. I mean, they just got players over there that they really need to let go. But yeah, Minneapolis wins here. Oddly enough, I don't think they cover the spread, though, just because these two teams love taking it down to the wire. So I'll take Minneapolis, and Kirk, you like that, Cousins. Giants at Miami. Daniel Jones at Tua. Man, Miami just embarrassed the hell out of Cam Newton and the Panthers. Miami's -3 at home. Who you got in this one?
Oddly enough, I'm going to actually have to take the Miami Dolphins. You know, they are
stole a kid.
secretly...
Yeah, someone just stole a kid.
That's what it looks like.
What's wrong with y'all snatching children?
On, people.
Come on,
Cut
man.
it out.
Making my phone buzz in the middle of the show.
Leave the kids alone.
Seriously. Leave them be.
You know, Miami is secretly holding on to the second longest win streak in the NFL right now, winning 4 straight.
Wow.
They come out against these Giants. I think they'll keep that momentum rolling for 5 straight games. That'll have them at a 6-7 record. They'd be damn near 500. I mean, they started off the season really bad. I'm not sure what's happening in Miami, but they're actually looking like the 10-6 football team that they were last season.
Right.
They've kind of turned the corner. I mean, they're still a long shot as far as making a wild card or anything, but they're definitely not a team that you can look at week to week like, oh, well, you play the Dolphins, this is an easy win. They have changed that narrative. Tua is actually playing decent football.
Yep.
And the Dolphins are looking good. I think the Dolphins will beat the New York Giants because the Giants are a bad football team. No idea how they won last week, but they definitely will not show up 2 weeks in a row. Danny Dimes, kill that name, for real.
Yeah.
Just completely destroy it. Daniel Jones should not have been drafted number 6 in the draft. He is showing it. Horrible. The Giants are a bad football team with a bad quarterback, a bad coach. They got rid of the offensive coordinator as if he was I mean, Joe Judge stood there and said, blame the coaches. But then you fired the coaches under you. You the coach. Fire you.
How do you keep it?
A special teams coordinator as a head coach is a bad idea. And now you got rid of the offensive coordinator. It's not going to get better. The Giants are going to lose.
Yeah, Giants are going to lose. I think they're going to lose big. Miami wins. They cover the spread. I want to speak on Tua for a second. So, you know, the funny thing with Tua is he clearly dominated at Alabama. He got drafted, 3rd overall, if I'm not mistaken, by Miami. 3rd, 6th, somewhere around there.
Tua, yeah, he was really high.
Right, yeah, I know he was top 10. I think he would have been the number 1 overall pick if he had not got hurt. And, of course, a guy named Joe Burrow happened. A lot of people want to say that Tua is not the franchise guy. And I don't necessarily think he is that guy that I see you probably laughing at some comments over there. Tua is not that guy that's going to take you to the promised land. But I personally think on Tua's good days, he can win you a football game. I mean, Tua clearly last year thrown into a Ryan Fitzpatrick situation, thrown into a, Brian Flores maybe getting coach of the year, cost himself because he's benching Tua in these unconfident, spurts of time for the Dolphins. Tua didn't play bad football last year. And I know he looks small on the field. He's left-handed. He's got a different perspective because of how he plays on the field and his ankles into how he's oriented with his play style. But it was kind of the same thing with Jalen Hurts. 2, again, former Alabama quarterbacks not getting their true spotlight. We just saw it with Jalen Hurts with Philadelphia. They surround him with maybe not a good coach. He kind of bombed his press conference, but he's doing his thing. Maybe the Eagles will make the playoffs out there in a bad division. But, you talk about Brian Flores, give them just a little more time with Tua. He was clearly drafted high for a reason. Daniel Jones had no business.
No.
Past quarterbacks that we've seen drafted in the first round, absolutely having no business. It'll be like if Spencer Rattler goes first round, absolutely no business. But Tua had business being drafted in the first round of the NFL. I think he can be at best a top 15 to 17 quarterback in the NFL. That's good enough to win you a Super Bowl with the type of defense that Miami showed us last year. Brian Flores isn't a bad coach. I'll get off my soapbox about Tua, but I say all that to say, Tua can be a starter in this league. He can take a team at least a run into the playoffs. Will he need more help around him, kind of like a Matt Ryan, a Kirk Cousins situation? Absolutely. But Tua's talented, and he can be the guy for the Dolphins for a couple years to come. But Miami wins, covers the spread. And I'll take them over the Giants, of course. Let's throw Danny Dimes out of here.
On his way into the league, Tua gave us Russell Wilson type vibes.
Yeah.
Like, so his expectations are so high. That's why we're so low on him.
Right. But I feel like literally one season and people want to sell the stock. I get it. Miami was in the run for Deshaun Watson. 30 of the teams in the NFL probably should, or 25. Like Deshaun Watson he is in the elite class. But give Tua his time, at the end of the day. Speaking of another NFC East matchup here going on into the AFC 2, Eagles at Jets. Jets are at home underdogs by 6.5. Who you got in this one?
Absolutely taking the Philadelphia Eagles. The Jets, they pull off these one-off wins every blue moon. They got 3 wins this season. They're not getting the 4th. Not this week. I think Jalen Hurts has a big game. And just as you spoke on, it's another Alabama quarterback that's actually getting his just due. He's going to shine. It is a bad Jets team. I think Philly rolls, and they roll fairly easily. I mean, did you see Zach Wilson out there? I don't know how the hell they won that football game. I mean, Zach has some of the worst highlights I've ever seen. I didn't even think he'd be that bad. I did say he would lead the league in interceptions, but some of the stuff that he does is like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You got drafted number 2 to do that?
The 2nd and 4th pick were
Garbage.
Yeah, absolutely garbage. Want to give a quick shout out to the Warzone Sports Network, Mike on the Mic sports podcast. Joe Morley Sports hops in sometimes too. Those two guys brought together literally an all digital network that they run so many shows off YouTube. They're live every day. They're putting out crazy content. They're on all platforms. They're going hard. They're literally building something super legendary and generational. And I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody over there, especially you, Mike, coming and giving us some love here, man. I'm going to take Philadelphia too. I'm going to love Jalen Hurts, cutting up this Jets defense. They're just clearly the better team. Maybe not much of a better team, but I think they are much of a better team than the Jets. But of course, we know neither of these teams are a true threat in the NFL. Give me the Eagles. They will cover that 6.5 point spread, so you can bet your money and ride off happy into the sunset. The Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Texans are underdogs at home as well. They are +9. Does Jonathan Taylor just blow up this Texans defense like Derrick Henry usually does?
I mean, he might go for 200 yards against them. Yeah. I think the Indianapolis Colts will run through the Houston Texans literally. Yeah. And they'll easily cover that spread. Houston has absolutely nothing to offer. Indy has a top-flight defense. Houston be hard-pressed to get over 10 points in this game.
Yeah.
This might be like a 30-6 type of game.
Yeah.
Is this going to be really ugly? Indy is going to roll over them.
Highly, highly, highly agree with you. I couldn't agree more. This really might be the safest bet of the weekend when we look at it. Ken, you're an absolute fool. You are an absolute fool. All right.
That's what I was laughing at. Paper, rock, scissors.
Yeah. Well, he said Zach Wilson's mom is hot. Yeah, she was pretty good. They look really identical though. That's a little.
So you got a thing for Zach?
Indianapolis at Houston. I think Indy wins this game. I just think they absolutely steamroll through Houston. Nothing good on the Houston side of the football. Indianapolis is a team that nobody really wants to play right now. Ironically, the last few years, the Titans have been that team that nobody wants to see, and it's another team out of the AFC South having that same type of vibe. Indy wins. They cover the spread. Bet your money. Take your points. Let's move. Washington football team at Las Vegas Raiders. I think this one is going to be really close considering how two of these teams have played the last few weeks. Taylor Heineke and Derek Carr, who balls out and gets a victory for their squad?
I mean, as difficult as it is to actually make the pick, I mean, for just off the top of my head, I'd be like, oh, yeah, the Raiders. But what we've seen come out of Washington and Taylor Heineke is actually a decent quarterback. He's not bad at all. He is sustaining football in Washington. No one even knew his name, and we still call him Heineken. Taylor Heineken is going to lead the Washington football team to yet another W over the Las Vegas Raiders. They beat Seattle. They're going to beat the Raiders. Washington is a sneaky, really good football team. They're not a contender by any means, but they're one of those teams like you're going to take a bad loss and it's going to be to them. So I like the Washington football team in what will be an upset according to Vegas levels because the Raiders are favored by 2.5. I think Washington will go into Allegiant Stadium and beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
So I won't lie to you. I actually have the Raiders picked on my sheet right here. I don't think they cover the spread. But considering Dallas was without 3 of their 5 best players, only lost by 3 in overtime, and there were 28 penalties for well over 250 yards in that game, I'm going to flip my pick to the Washington football team. They've just kind of been rolling ever since that win against Brady. They're just coming off a few good weeks right now. And I mean, Taylor Heineke, he can play good football. He really can. Now, he will give you those kind of, streaky Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, maybe even a Zach Wilson type of vibe where he just, what the hell are you doing type of plays. But Taylor Heineke can kind of win you a football game for the most part, at least as of the last few weeks with this Washington football team. And I believe in Derek Carr. I believe in the Raiders, not long term and, for sustainability through the postseason, but I believe they're a good enough team to hang with just about anybody right now. Not just about anybody, but a good portion of good NFL teams, probably not great ones. They've been going through a lot of dysfunction in the franchise right now. Give me Washington, though. I'll take Washington. I think they cover the spread at 2.5 as well, so they will upset in Allegiant, and Raiders fans will leave upset. Joe Morley will not be happy. Big Raiders fan over there.
Very.
Jacksonville at Los Angeles Rams. Rams are favored by 13 points at home. Who you got?
The Rams will win by more than 13. I think they're going to obliterate Jacksonville.
This could be like a 40-0, 38-3 type of game.
Yeah, I mean, they're really in their feelings about the way they lost to Green Bay. Their players are upset. Their fans are upset. They're playing at home. Jacksonville is going to come in. It's going to be nasty. I think this will be a game where people look at the stats for Matt Stafford and be like, oh, see, he came in. It's like, bruh, it's Jacksonville. I really don't care how well you play against them. And if you quote Jacksonville held Buffalo to 6 points, that just is more a testament to how much of a fraud the Bills are than to how good Jacksonville's defense is. The Rams are going to come in and just completely destroy Jacksonville. It'll be a bad game.
Yeah, I agree with you. No reason to even pick through this one. I think Trevor Lawrence does a few interceptions. Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald just have some key plays in this game. Matthew Stafford might throw for 400-plus yards in this one and a few touchdowns. Rams win. They're clearly the better team. Take your points, bet your money. They cover the spread and move on. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Super hard pick here for some people. I think we're torn on this one. Pittsburgh is +4 at home, so they're underdogs in Heinz Field. Who you got?
They are underdogs at home, and they should be underdogs at home because they have been a bad football team, and they're sitting right at 500 with their raggedy tie. But I do think that this will be a game where Pittsburgh mans up and has a pride game, and we also see Baltimore give us more of what we've been seeing out of them week in and week out.
Right.
They play a terrible first half of football and give Pittsburgh extreme confidence, and I don't think they're able to rally and come back. They're going to be a really, really tight game, but Pittsburgh winning is covering spread because the spread is in favor of Baltimore. So I'm going to take the Steelers.
Steelers win this one in Heinz Field. That's a tough pick. I think that's almost as tough as Washington and Vegas right now. Tricky spread, too. I got Baltimore here, though. And, this game could really go either way because if the Steelers have a good day at the office defensively, Baltimore can't start slow against a pass rush like that, against a secondary that can get going like that. I like Lamar Jackson over Ben Roethlisberger. I like the talent of Baltimore and coaching in general on all aspects over Pittsburgh right now. So give me Baltimore. They will not cover the spread, though, just because of how shaky they are. And we can be maybe witnessing an overtime game right here. San Francisco at Seattle, and I almost wanted to put this one on the weekend watch, but the Seattle Seahawks are so damn bad. San Francisco is coming around, though. Seattle underdogs at home. Jimmy G versus Russell Wilson. Who you got?
Oh, I'm absolutely taking Jimmy G in this game because San Francisco is on a 3-game win streak, and it's really just a testament that they've gotten healthy.
Yep.
San Francisco was supposed to be one of the premier teams in the NFC this season, and injuries took them out early on.
Right.
They've since gotten healthy, And now San Francisco looks like the 49ers team that I thought would come into the season. I picked the 49ers to win the division.
Yeah, you did.
Starting the season.
I had them not even making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, like they're in the playoffs as it stands right now.
Right.
And I think that continues on.
Niners, Vikings at 6 and 7.
Yeah, like San Francisco is going to continue on this tear that they've been on. Where are they at? They're in the 6th spot. Yeah, and Washington's at 7.
Wow.
Minnesota's out.
Yeah, I think you got Saints, Falcons Saints at like 9-10 or 8 and 9. Yeah, they are down there, man. Talk about the NFC. The NFC still being like top heavy. It's all coming around now.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco is sitting in a playoff spot right now. I think that absolutely continues. I mean, the NFC West has 3 teams in the playoffs as it stands, and they likely will get 3 teams in, and they'll all be a problem. So I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers. They will continue their run. Russ will not cook. San Francisco has Seattle's number anyway.
Absolutely. They got a winning streak there. Quick shout out to the This Just In Sports show. They're live every Monday. They talk sports. They talk football just like we do here on Petty Sports. What's happening, Justin? Good to see you in the chat there on YouTube. San Francisco at Seattle. Jimmy G's playing better football right now than Russell Wilson. We just went through it here with the segment talking about the end of an era for Seattle. It's tough. It's disappointing. I hate to see it. I kind of saw the dysfunction coming. Russell Wilson was fed up with it. Pete Carroll is like dirt at this moment. They need to move on. San Francisco is just the better football team on all aspects. I think they win. I think they cover the spread. You can take your points here. Now we're on to Denver at Kansas City with the most egregious spread of Week 13 in the NFL. Kansas City is favored at home by double digits, 10 points. Who you got here?
Yeah, man, I'm taking Kansas City, but that spread is outlandish. I think Kansas City will win a very close football game. They'll win by like maybe 4 points.
Right.
It's not a 10-point type of game. I wouldn't be surprised if Denver actually beat them. I wouldn't pick Denver to win it, but I'm expecting Denver to be all the way in the game and it go down to the wire. I just trust Pat Mahomes more than Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, that's really not a bold statement. I mean, Kansas City will win, and it'll be really tight.
Kansas City does win. I think it'll be tight as well. Like you said, 10-point spread is absolutely outlandish. Kansas City just looks for a good bounce-back win here. I trust Reed and Mahomes over a lot of people in the NFL. But Denver, when they do get going, we can see that they can move the football at certain times, and Kansas City is the type of defense that if you're going to try to wean back into a game or steal a victory, it would probably be against that Kansas City defense. So Kansas City wins. They don't cover the spread, though, so whether you can make that an easy or hard bet of the weekend, you're right. The decision is yours. New England at Buffalo. And, God, this is going to be such a good game. I know we're going to be going back and forth over text. Mac Jones, Josh Allen, Bill Belichick, Sean McDermott. Buffalo is -3 at home. Who you got here?
-3 at home means it's actually a pick 'em. They give you 3 points for being the home team.
Yep.
So it's really a pick 'em because they actually know that New England is the better football team than Buffalo. They're going to come into Buffalo, shut them down with serious defense, smash mouth football, Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris running through them. You got Brandon Bolden looking like the second coming of James White coming in as a third down back. You're going to have Mac Jones playing very safe football, taking care of the ball. New England will handle Buffalo.
I got to agree with you. I think they win. I think they cover the spread. Bill Belichick is just going to come out in this game, and he's going to show Josh Allen something that he probably, one, hasn't seen all season, but two, it's going to be able to shut down that one-dimensional part of Buffalo. I said it all on the weekend watch. Buffalo's one-dimensional. Their leading rusher and passer, usually leading offensive player, is all run by their quarterback. And the defense is good, but when you can't run the football in late November, December, January, it's just not going to happen. No. New England wins. They take the upset, and they cover the spread. I 100% they cover the spread, and you can have a safe bet there. That is going to wrap it up for Petty Sports, everybody. Man, it's been a great show. All the knowledge flowing off the top, all the comments, all the callers. Make sure to subscribe. It's not about where Petty Sports is. It's about where you listen. Fees, take us out, man, as we get into December.
Hey, appreciate all y'all for tuning in. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy, Famous Fees. Go Patriots, USC Trojans, all day long. Watch Bama win the SEC championship. All you Georgia fans, make sure you keep that same energy next Wednesday. Call in, grovel live on air. That's what it's going to be.
We out next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Please subscribe to the show. We need your sub. Our Christmas present from you to us is a sub. Our New Year's resolution is to get more subs. So go ahead and fulfill us on both ends. Petty Sports next Wednesday, 8 p.m. We are out.
Shouts out to the Hawks. Took down Indiana tonight.
Okay.
Trey Young, 33, 10, and 8.
They're streaking.
Yeah.
They are streaking.
I like that. Miami lost to Cleveland. What's up with that?
Some people think they're one of the best teams in the East.
Psych.
They are, but
Psych. Psych.
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, we'll be right back. So hold on to your seat and hit the facts because we go down hard.
USC. Who? Mac Jones.
He just got all the joy right now. Can't nobody shake him.